In today's video, we are going to discuss a forward-leaning shaft. So you have to be aware that as you hit the golf ball, your club shaft shouldn't be perpendicular to the ground or even leaning back. It should be in this position. It should be leaning towards the target. So in essence, your lead arm and your club form a straight line as viewed from face on as you're hitting the golf ball. It is absolutely critical to playing your best golf. So today, 2 drills to help you achieve this. The world's best players all have their handle leaning forwards towards the target like so when they hit the golf ball. And this is critical to them being able to control where they hit the ground. It's part of them being able to make ball then turf contact. It's part of them being able to launch a higher lofted iron with less dynamic loft so the ball travels further. So if I'm in position here, what you'll tend to see happen is the higher handicappers won't keep the handle leading. The club head would start to overtake the hands, and as the club head overtakes the hands, the point of contact on the ground starts to appear before the golf ball. So this leads to fat shots and thin shots as the club head hits the ball on its ascent. The better player will all have the handle like so, much more forwards. I like to make the analogy that if you imagine a straight line here going up from the golf ball vertically upwards, if you think of the hands and the club head as 2 compatriots having a race, and the goal is to get the hands to pass this finishing line before the club head. So the hands win the race to the ball in respect of the club head. This is getting your handle forwards in that position. So today, 2 drills to try and help you work on this. The first one, I sometimes call the impossible drill. So we have our golf ball on the ground. I'm going to put an alignment rod here either side. So I'm building a little bit of a corridor. And my task here, quite simply, is to try and make a swing. And as I make my swing, I'm going to try and hit the ground in front of the golf ball between the corridor. Now, the reason I have these corridors in place here is that it would be quite easy to do this by starting to come right across the golf ball in a very steep manner, but then I'd be hitting the rods as I come across it. So it's just to keep us with a relatively straight direction. So again, I'm in position. I'm going to make my backswing, make my downswing, and hit the ground in front of the ball, like so. And even though this sounds really easy, because what I'm saying to you is have your swing and actually miss the golf ball. I want you to miss the golf ball entirely. In reality, it is difficult unless you have your weight sufficiently forwards, and importantly for us in this case, your handle forwards. You'll have to have the hands win the race to that imaginary line vertically up from the ball in order to hit the ground in front of the ball, like so. So if I have a go and I put a bit more speed into it, I'm in position and I've hit the ground between the lines in front of that golf ball. If we freeze frame that, that would very much look like this at impact. So the handle would be way forwards. In reality, you could say further forwards than it need to be, which is true, but it's to give you that feeling. It's to give you the experience of just how much you can move the handle forwards as you're hitting the golf ball. So this is drill number 1. Sometimes I call it, like I said, the impossible drill. It might take you a fair few attempts to do it, but if you manage to, you'll absolutely be on the right tracks. Now, if it's too difficult at first and you just want a slightly easier version of the drill, 2 ways you could do this. 1, I would start to position the ball slightly back. So here I had it centered to just forwards in my stance. I'm going to move the golf ball so it's more in line with my trail heel. So it's in line with my trail heel. And from here, it's still going to require me to have the handle forwards, because if I do start to let the club head overtake, I am still going to hit the ground, because you can imagine the club head in reality is making quite a shallow, smooth landing into the back of the ball. It doesn't come from straight up to straight down. But this will give you a little bit more margin, should be a little bit easier. And even I found it much easier there. I was able to hit the ground more firmly without being quite so attentive to exactly what I was doing. So this is if you want a slightly simpler version of it. Now, just another version of it, very similar, is to simply position the ball forwards in your stance. So this time I've got it just outside of my lead heel, so it's just in front of my lead heel. And this time I actually want to do the reverse. I want to make contact with the ball. If I was to make my swing here and let the club head pass the hands, there's a good chance I would go right above it, or at the very least top or fin the golf ball. So we want a solid strike from this forward ball position, and again it's going to force me to have the weight forwards, and as is the case here, the handle forwards in order to make good contact. Like so. So this is the second slightly easier version of the drill, which again is going to start to incorporate that feel, give you that feel of how you can have your handle lead in forwards as you're striking that golf ball. Now, the second drill I'd like you to do here is that I have positioned this foam noodle and I've put it roughly 1.5 feet behind my golf ball. And again, it's to achieve a similar thing. So we're in position. If I make my downswing and I start to let the hands be overtaken by the club head, I'm going to lengthen the radius of my downstroke too quickly and I'm going to hit the noodle. So what we're trying to do in effect, once we get to the top of the swing, we're trying to bring the left arm back down. We're straightening the right arm, but as we're doing that, we're not yet releasing any of our wrist angles nor rotating the forearms excessively. So I'm in position. I'm going to bring the arm down, straighten the trail arm. I'm in position, and it's only now with my handle really almost having won the race compared to the club head, but I'm going to start to let the club head move down and around. So I'm in position and I'm going to be in right here. My handle's going to be forwards. I'm going to do my best to miss this foam noodle. Like so. And again, you'll get feedback immediately as to whether you're doing it correctly or incorrectly. Think of this as being black or white. There is no gray area. Either you do this well and you miss the noodle, or you're not quite doing it right and you're hitting the noodle. And you know that the primary factors controlling where you're going to be able to miss this noodle are going to be by having your weight forwards, and importantly again for us in this case, by having your handle more forwards. If I do just one more, position the ball here. So again, I don't want to hit the noodle first, like so. I want to make sure my hands win the race. I want to make sure my handle's forwards. It will undoubtedly feel quite punchy to you when you're trying this. Like so. So that's your second drill. Thank you very much for watching. If you did like the content, then please don't forget to like and subscribe, and that way you won't miss any of my future videos. If you'd like to work with me, you can do so wherever you are in the world using the Skillist app or in person. I look forward to catching up with you soon. Happy golfing.